Hey, live on Pat Soundbytes, keeping new music alive on the radio, on video, on Zooms, in any way that I possibly can. Today, I'm promoting a great friend. He's been on the show numerous times. He's an up and coming rising star. He's a singer, he's a songwriter, and he's got this powerhouse trio that includes himself. And I'm talking Mr. J.T. Lutz. And he's released another single from his album Taken by Moonlight, and it's called Love is the Drug. And we're going to play that video right now.
Baby's got a gun and she's got it going on today. Got a bullet in the chest, throw the bulletproof vest away. Dressed in black in the back of a Cadillac. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Your love is a drug and it gets me high, but it's poison in my blood and it cuts like a knife through my heart, through my heart, through my heart.
Mr. J.T. Lutz, yeah! You know, that song is just like, it's in my brain anymore. I don't know. Love is the drug, but the song's in my brain, which is all good. And I got J.T. Lutz and Mr. Zach Cook in the house. How are you, gentlemen?
Good, man. Good to see you again.
Man, I love that groove. I love that sound. Where do we where do we start today, JT? Well, anyway, great to see you. You guys I know are in Nashville and are kicking ass and taking names. I love the album. I love a lot of the tracks. Great to see you, Zach, for the first time. Pat Calamari here. I hope you like seafood. I'm in every menu under appetizer that you can find. Anyway, so JT, how would you describe your music? I mean, I got you as a rocker. I know the influences for you and Zach and Ethan come from Rival Sons all the way to the Foo Fighters. If folks have never heard of you before and they need an ass kicking if they've never listened to any of our interviews, how would you describe the music that you, Zach, and Ethan create?
Yeah, so the way I usually describe it is, it's got a familiar sound, and but we're kind of trying to bring something new to it. And I think last time we were talking about the parts that change. It almost sounds like a different genre going from verse to chorus, and we try and sound familiar but yet unique at the same time. And as a trio, it really pushes you to kind of strive for finding the best sounds for each song. Every chord has to have a purpose. Every drum fill has to have a purpose. When it's only three of you trying to make a wall of sound, and that's what we've been trying to do these last few years. And we've been really developing our sound here in Nashville now these last couple months, and we're excited to keep expanding.
Well, you guys are doing a hell of a job, and you think of the trios in the past that have certainly made it. I think of Rush and Triumph and some of my favorites all time that are out there. And yeah, you want to have your own sound. I know we talked about it of, the minute the record comes on, so everybody goes, holy shit, that's JT Lutz. So yeah, you guys are taking it by storm. And as we also discussed about, and we'll get into Zach's killer solid heavy drum hitting of the rhythm section of Zach and Ethan. I told you, man, I don't know what it is. The more I listen to your tracks of Ethan's bass is like, I just love that that deep sound. And I think you were telling me it's a Rickenbacker, and it just brings a whole different level to it. And and I know he's like, you guys know he's doing so much besides, you're playing lead, but he's doing the rhythm, he's doing the bass, but it's a unique sound and it really sticks out. And I think also heard it really well in Sick and Twisted, and even Shaking Hands with the Devil. It's pretty cool. It's a good sound.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man.
They, Zach and Ethan were playing in the group prior to this project, and I'll let Zach talk about that a little bit. But they had been in a project for a couple of years, so it was very easy to kind of go into that songwriting process.
Yeah, like from the beginning of this project with JT, it's been like the greatest thing I think about it is that it's been so honest. Like if something's working really well, we'll let you know. If something's not working and just sounds horrible, we'll definitely let you know. We can actually get to somewhere that all three of us are like really proud and like really feel like is meaningful and inspired,
Yeah, that's what I love about Ethan's bass playing too, is it's very honest and it serves the song exactly what it needs to be. There's a lot of people out there that end up overplaying and it just kind of ruins the song. And so we're all kind of like taking each other's ideas into account and kind of trying everything, throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, and not really kind of letting our egos get in the way of what the song needs the most.
Yeah.
I never thought, I mean, I got to say, probably in the last 10 years, I find myself throwing the headsets on and really concentrating. I close my eyes and I really enjoy hearing every instrument, if that makes any sense. Like I look forward to hearing the bass. And you're right, there are some songs that can certainly get overproduced by either the vocals or the guitar riff. But I mean, I hand it off to your great, wonderful mentor, producer, Frank Hannon, whoever's mastering all your work and engineering it. It comes out crystal clear. Like you do have a band of like 6 or 7 people, and it's a great sound. And I know we talked about that time changing. I was saying to JT, Zach, how I don't know what it is, but I love a song that just goes, Taken by Moonlight, JT starts with this acoustic and then I don't want to say it explodes, but it just takes off. And then I like a song that like just almost stops and then picks up again. Not just trying to be crazy with it, but just going with it. It's like found its fit with the whole song.
Yeah, definitely. Like stuff like that is like such good hooks and are such classic things that, we're taking inspiration from thousands of other guys who've done like the same tricks or whatever, but just like putting a stop into a song, or the way you're right, like Taken by Moonlight, it's just slowly building up. And by the end, it's like, craziness. Hopefully along the way, we've like earned that big release at the end, that big, huge last craziness of it.
Well, even like with Love Is the Drug, just playing that 1 minute of the video where it's going, and then just when you guys pop on the video, it's like, holy shit. And then like when I shut it off, it was like back to another, level out. And it's very, it's very radio friendly. The lines, the hooks, and I mean, it fits well. Zach, what did you think when you had this crazy, wild-haired guy named JT Lutz find you and Ethan saying, what do you think? We should work together. What was going on? You got this great rhythm section, looking for probably a singer with an open mind, not an ego crazy head. What did you first? What was the conversation between you and Zach? Should we take this route or?
Yeah, so, because we had like worked together on like just playing with our previous project at like a show together. And we played many shows together when we were in California and had just known each other, and then happened to bump into each other randomly at the Gibson booth at NAMM of like
2020. It was like right before pandemic kind of hit hard.
But I told JT, because I'd heard his like song that he put out, and I'm like, oh, that song's really cool. You should add drums to it. Like I'll add drums to it or something like that.
Yeah, it was a song I put on SoundCloud. It was just like this dumb like demo thing that I did. It was just acoustic guitar. I put it out like the day before I went to NAMM, just to kind of like, and I was thinking like, oh, maybe we'll, and it was Frank's idea. He's like, put it out and somebody will talk to you about that demo. I was like, no one's gonna talk to me about that. come up to me and be like, "Dude, I heard your unreleased
Your
song on
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud."
You're like, come on, Frank paid you off. Who are you?
And Zach came up to me, and all of a sudden, like, it clicked in my brain. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I had been wanting to jam with these guys for so long, and it just kind of like the way the universe kind of like put it all together. They had just left their project. I had just left one of my projects and had started singing, thanks to Frank helping me through that and stuff. And I was looking to just jam with people, and the trio made sense because it's hard nowadays to get people to commit to things. And so we just kind of thought, hey, let's just do it with 3 people and see how far we can go, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no such thing as a coincidence, and like you said, things happen the way it happens. I mean, Frank, come on, you paid these 2 guys off. There's no way. But you'd be surprised how many folks I've talked to, and you know, they're sitting home, they're bored, and they throw something out on YouTube, and then somebody sees it. I mean, I think of the guy singing in Journey now, Arnel Panera, when Steve Perry left. Journey's looking for a singer, and they find this guy from the Philippines, and hey, we got to reach out to this guy, and now he's the lead singer in Journey. Who would ever imagine? Zach, I was saying to Ethan, you know, the other thing I really are falling in love with your sound and everything is the harmonies. How important that you and Ethan both are supporting his vocals, and again, not overproducing, not loud, but the importance of he's not out there by himself and somebody's just doing the yeahs. Both of you guys are really, I mean, it comes across really well.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that was like the hardest part of everything because like for all of us, we'd been playing our like, you know, instrument. Like I played drums, Ethan bass, whatever, G-Tig's on the guitar. We've been playing that for so long that it's like, okay, you get comfortable enough at a point to be able to write a song and sort of know what to do, or at least where to kind of go to. But the singing was like brand new to all 3 of us, really.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's very humbling because in the beginning, as hard as you try, it's just going to sound horrible. But you got to keep going until you get like this inkling of like, oh, okay, it's starting to work. Our harmony is like, you know, really working. It's making something happen. So
yeah, we spent a lot of time listening to the greats like the Beatles and the Eagles, and kind of taking from where harmonies sound really good in the songs and where to not put them in, you know, to make it to where when the harmony does come in, that it sounds special. And we spent a lot of time recreating some classic tracks in the beginning to just practice those harmonies, and then we started implementing them in our own songs, and it gets easier after a while. I mean, the first couple times you listen back to your voice and your harmonies, you're like, this is the worst thing I've ever heard.
We're gonna go down to one of the bars in Nashville and have a few drinks and do karaoke, and it sounds great, you know. At least build up your confidence.
Yeah, so it was definitely a lot of work, but the harmonies, doing it as a trio is really rewarding because, you know, after you get off stage and people are amazed that it's only 3 people, it makes you feel really good about, you know, the work that you've put into it.
yeah.
And it is work. I mean, like I said yesterday or so, you're 22, and here you understand the dissection of putting a song together without going to Berkeley or something, and it comes with experience, and obviously having somebody with the experience like Frank Hannon, who can just walk into your living room and go, just throw this out there. And I think that's what you were telling me about. Love is the drug. You've had it and just couldn't really figure it all out. And he walks in the door with 5 seconds and says, try this. And that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. That was, this song was really special to us because of that fact that we had the verse for a long time and we had a couple different choruses, and we thought they were okay, but we didn't think they were good enough. And he came into the room, and like within 30 minutes we had the chorus. The next day we came in the morning to the studio. We had like an hour because I think Zach had work, and we were like, okay, we get maybe 3 takes of this song. And I think we banged it out, and the first take was the one that ended up being on the album.
Yeah.
And it's all played to all live in the room, no click track. So
excellent. Yeah, I mean, there you go. The importance of a guy like a Frank Hannon. You know, Zach, speaking of harmonies and singing, you know, forget about just learning to play the drums. And now I certainly have a better appreciation of what you do. And you see the pros of the Don Henleys and the Phil Collins and playing and singing and breathing and, you know, how all that. I mean, talk about work, man. That's certainly not easy.
Yeah, when you first try and do it, it's like your brain understands like how to do it separately. Like I can sing at least a little bit on key by itself, or I can play the drum beat for sure. But putting it together, it's like it becomes like twice as complex because all of your rhythms of your vocal don't necessarily line up with your drums or your bass or your guitar. And so it's so uncomfortable and weird, and you're like pushing through this weird place in your head. But when you do get to it, it does start to feel comfortable. And like now I think we've reached a point where it doesn't bother us as much really anymore.
Yeah. It still takes a lot of focus and practice. There's some songs that take a lot longer because sometimes you'll be singing on a downbeat while you're playing on an upbeat, or like with the drums, right? If you're playing a really, really hard beat and you're bouncing up and down, you got to still sing in pitch and not sound shaky. And so
remember to breathe too. Yeah. That's like a whole nother part of it.
There's little things like that you still have to this day, even us after doing it for 2.5 years, which is still new to us, you know, like in the perspective of somebody that's been doing it for, you say, 20 years, we're still new to it, but it does get easier, but you still have to work at it a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Look, dude, I got to tell you, in the last 2 years, you guys are hitting it out of the park. You would never think that this is your first rodeo listening to the tracks that you're putting out. You know, I've been blessed to hang out with like Michael Cardelloni, Leonard Skinner, and, you know, as a fan, the last song Skinner always plays is Freebird. And Michael doesn't sing, but he says it's a workout. It's a 15-minute marathon. I mean, he rides a bike, he don't drink, he don't smoke. He's like, and it's all about keeping in shape and breathing and all of that. You know, as a fan, we're like, yeah, Freebird, yeah. You know, not even. I have so much more respect for musicians like you guys. I mean, I try to play on piano, and I can do the Saints Come Marching In real slow. And I took a couple of classes, and it was a group class, and the lady was like blowing by me. I'm raising my hand, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you're good." And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, this is ridiculous. I got to do like one-on-one projects or something." And I grabbed it during COVID. A buddy of mine gave me a guitar, and he says, "You got to learn how to play." And I think I did like the first 5 notes of Smoke on the Water. I'm like, everybody does that, right? My friend did it. He drove me crazy in high school. Every time after school, he played Smoke on the Water. And then it got into Highway to Hell. I mean, if I didn't have a nightmare hearing da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. Then he got into Ted Nugent and Freebird and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. The more practice that you put into it, the more dedicated to how bad do you want it. That's what I always tell my kids. You know, how bad do you want it? You want to learn how to play piano or guitar? You're going to find every opportunity to do that. The songwriting, I asked JT, you know, all his experiences, he writes predominantly the songs of his 22 years of life. But, you know, what do you, when he comes up with an idea, how do you, where do you and Ethan fit in? Do you help with the lyrics, Zach? Do you come up? I mean, a lot of songs people tell me start with like a drum beat. If they're home in the studio, they just put on an electronic thing and try to work off of that. How does it work for you two? When this rock star comes in and goes, "I got an idea. This girl broke up with me. It's been driving me crazy. What do you think of this?"
Yeah. I think usually we'll just start playing. You know, it's like because we practice, especially we used to practice like 3-4 times a week, right?
Sometimes even more when we like the height of COVID, when no one had anything to do, we would just get together all the time.
Yeah. And so when you get there, after everyone's gets set up and you talk and whatever, just inevitably start playing something. And then from there, you know, you might get inspired in the middle of that and go, "Oh, you know, what we just did, that was like really cool."
Yeah, like record that on your phone, you know, real quick.
It's always record, right? Make sure the record button's on.
Yeah. Or I'll have like a little bit of an idea of like a little verse part and then a chorus part, and I'll bring it to them, and then it goes from like an idea to an actual song, and it becomes something, and then I'll be like, "I think these lyrics right here should have harmonies over it," and then they will be like, "Well, I think these ones do," and then we try both, we figure out what works, we record it, listen back to it. And I think the most important thing for musicians is to listen back to what you're
Yeah,
writing,
for sure.
because in the moment it could sound good or it could sound bad. You never know. Like sometimes I've thought I've played really, really bad and I listen back to it and it's not that bad at all. Or
Yeah.
sometimes you think an idea is really, really good and then you listen back to it and you're like, this is kind of boring.
Yeah.
So,
Have you written your own music before, Zach, by yourself?
I kind of mess around like on my computer and just like put little things together, but it's more of just like practice. I kind of prefer to play drums or piano or something.
he's really good on the the engineering side of, like, whenever we're doing demos and stuff, he's the one that sets it all up, and he's really good at like putting everything together and adding reverb here and stuff and kind of getting an idea of what the song would sound like to give us a better idea. Because once we can hear it back and we know that it's good, we can kind of like settle down and be like, okay, the structure of this song is good. We don't have to change it anymore,
Yeah, and we can work on it some other song.
Yeah.
Right, because certainly you could overdo it and then take away everything that you really accomplished, which maybe has happened to you guys. You got this, you put this meatloaf together with the ground beef and everything else, and then you go, well, let's do this, and then before you know, you went overboard, and you're like, wait a minute, where did we go here? Where did we go wrong with that? I know, I think, when I've always talked to Frank would always, I said, what's the number one advice you give JT or Red Voodoo or Austin Moe or Griffin Tucker, anybody? And he said, number one is the song. It's always about the song. If you don't have the songs, you don't have the product. People aren't going to care how long your hair is or what kind of drum kit you got. It's about the song. You want them to walk away. You want them to sing the songs back to you. And then you've really accomplished something, which, I mean, this has been a crazy 3, 4, 5 months for at least JT and even yourself. I mean, opening up for Tesla. Like, is this really happening to us? I mean, JT's filling in for Dave. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? But no, playing at the Dallas International, Guitar Festival. And, I tell my kids and I tell people, dreams come true. Again, how much do you believe in it? And you guys so committed to leave California. And Frank did touch upon that he broke away from some of the other groups. He was doing a little bit too much, but he says, how many kids, how many 18, 19, 20-year-olds that go live together, not kill each other, and really want to make it, and leave leave home and say, okay, let's do this. We're seriously, and we're going to do that. And he certainly tips his hat to just even being wanting to do that. So I think that just makes him want you guys to succeed even more. So it's all pretty cool. What did you think of opening up for Tesla, Zach? I met JT at the end of a show in May. First time I met Frank. I've interviewed Frank, another guy, 18 times, and for whatever reason, I never got to the right show, and finally met Frank at the end of the show. And who comes up to me with a baseball hat? And I didn't recognize him at first. I'm like, I was so excited to see Frank, like, finally. And then I get, hey, what are you doing, Pat? And I'm like, holy shit, JT. And then it like came to me like he just filled in for Dave. And I'm like, oh crap, yeah, he's here. This is really cool. That's why I'm wearing a bad marriage shirt. They opened up as well. Still opening up, I think, tonight. It might be the last night. Well, as I ramble, Zach, so what was that experience like?
It was crazy. It's definitely the most people we've ever played in front of. And the way that a crowd that large reacts is so different too, because like they're just so excited, to see Tesla, because they're like diehard Tesla fans. And so to see us, they're just like, the anticipation. And so we get out there and hopefully we play pretty good. And they're like, screaming. It's like so loud, cheering. I even got him to do that classic thing where with the lighters,
Oh, yeah. The lighter, not the cell phones. You go back to my days, little lighters. Come on, Zach.
Yeah, it was so much fun, man. Like, because the amount of energy like that many people have is just like adds to like whatever we're doing. and we're just like bouncing it back, and it's like this amazing
Yeah,
thing, you know.
it felt
You don't
really-
want it to end, right? Like, I want to do that every other night.
That's the dream, man. That's the idea.
Well, and the fun thing about that one was it was back-to-back nights at the casino ballroom. So after the first night, we were able to kind of like gather our composure and figure out what we could do better the next night. And I
Yeah.
think the second night we had an even better show because we were kind of settled in. I think when we first walked out, we saw almost 3,000 people staring at us. Like, it was crazy because most of our shows, you know, you play to 200, 300 people, and we're really grateful for that too. And you know, but when you get out in front of that many people, it's like it's almost like a shock for a second. So the first song, you're kind of like in this kind of like daze, but then
Yeah.
I think by the second or third song, I kind of started to settle in, and my parts, the guitar and the vocals kind of clicked, and they felt really connected, and I felt more comfortable on stage. But
Are you looking
def-
above the crowd? Do you try not to look at all the girls want to throw their bras up, and you're like, just focus, stay focused, stay focused. Come on, voice. Come on, fingers.
yeah, you want to look up and just kind of stay focused on that. But it's comforting to look over and see, you know, some of my best friends on stage with me, because I couldn't have done it without these guys. And now we're out here in Nashville doing what we want to do, and you know, I couldn't be more grateful.
And I can see when you got off the stage, Frank's high-fiving you, going, now run to the merch table and sign and sell everything.
Yeah, that was fun too. We had take a lot of pictures, and had a lot of people become fans that night. So it was really fun to talk with them and
Just meet people and
meet people. Some of them are like, you know, yo, let me get backstage and meet Tesla. That's all they care about.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that doesn't work like that. No. You can meet me at the merch, and that's our backstage. Yeah. Well, you just mentioned JT Nashville, and I said to JT, I was down in Nashville like in the early '80s, and it was just all country western, and I was fine with that. I started as a country DJ. I had that cowboy hat, I had the ugly Christmas sweater, and line dancing was just about line dancing was starting. So I love country music. I don't have a problem with that, but inside my heart, I've always been a rocker. So my wife and I end up going to Nashville, and it's nothing like it is today with the trolley, the drunks up and down the road, and every other 5 steps there's somebody singing in another venue. And you know, I interview more artists now, rockers out of Nashville, than even in LA or New York. But go ahead.
for like so many different kinds of music now. Like, yeah, it definitely has the reputation for it's very country, which like if you go downtown on like Main Street, there's like 50 bars where all of it is just like the most touristy kind of music. So there's the country and there's the covers and stuff. But like kind of where we are in East Nashville, there's a very cool pocket of indie music and like similar styles to us, and you know, kind of young people just like seeing what they can create and what kind of, you know, but a lot of people are coming out. It's like very alive, you know, and there's a big like hunger for new music here, which feels so great.
Yeah,
It's amazing to be here. Definitely.
it's a lot to digest and start over from scratch.
Yeah.
But, you know, because you know, back in California, we could pull, like I said, 200-300 tickets and you know, get a good crowd. But out here, no one knows who you are yet, so you kind of have to start over. You know, there's that excitement again about that drive and pushing forward and just trying to grind it out and pay your dues and stuff. And so we're at that stage right now, and we're hoping this whole first year we're just trying to build an audience and play more like house shows where, you know, the people that are locals to here, you know, because playing in downtown, it's a lot of people that are tourists that will leave the next day, that will forget about you. So
Yeah.
we kind of want to win over the audience that lives here to build that following here.
I'm probably the only guy that goes on vacation, and I'm like staring at who's ever playing and get their email. And I mean, I think it's really important. And Nashville, you know, like you just said, there's so many indie artists. It's all about networking and meeting somebody or another producer, or hey, and I'm sure there's all kinds of like songwriting sessions that you guys can just go and meet people and just get ideas back and forth.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, Sacramento. I don't know. JT spotted me. I jumped on that live stream the other day because I wanted to support you guys and to see the new merch, the new T-shirt that I gotta get so I don't have to wear. Oh, and a hat. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. Zach, say hello to your grandmother, or this or that. It's pretty comical. But hey, yeah, I mean, I said to JT, you got to do it more because it's a way to keep in touch with everybody without doing the whole Facebook Live or not face. What is it? That FaceTime or something like that. So yeah, no, cool, very cool. What I'll hit JT in a second. And he can pull out his guitar again. I get a lot of my listeners and followers, Zach, always say you don't ask enough gear questions. So I'll start with you on talk to me about your drum kit and what you use, what kind of sticks you use, heavy, small. Go ahead.
Well, I for the whole album, I was using a different kit that I'm using now, but that old kit is like a replica Ludwig kit of like John Bonham's drum sizes. So the big 26-inch kick, the huge toms, the two big floor toms, and a set of like the Paiste cymbals, Paiste 2002. They're like amazing, like bright, just like explosive, cymbals. And it definitely like that. My whole intention of that sound was just like big, loud drums in your face kind of a thing. But now I've been playing, I have this old Tama Rockstar. It's a real cheap kit that I've had since I was a kid, but it's more of like the dead, tight, like 70s drum sound. But I like both equally. I think just it's nice to like have some change and just bounce around,
Yeah, I think the biggest reason why he's using that one right now is how small our living room is.
You got to have room for Frank and Patrick when they raid you.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a really small house, so the smaller kit kind of fits well, and it sounds really good too. It's got that more of a dead tom sound. It reminds me a lot of Ringo style.
Yeah.
But he hits way harder than Ringo. So
Yeah.
I see that on the video. The hair is flying and he's just going at it. I'm pretty good friends with Carmine Apiece, and actually Led Zeppelin opened for Vanilla Fudge back in the day, and John Bonham, credits everything with Carmine. Carmine plays with the fat stick, holds the skinny end, but plays with the fat stick. Yeah. And so does his brother Vinny. Vinny played with Ozzy and Dio and all those guys. Do you play with the fat stick for a heavier sound?
I've tried it. To me, it's just more comfortable holding it normal, and I feel like I can still get a big sound depending on the technique and the right. It's kind of like a whip motion that you get this like really big sound out of it. But definitely for certain songs, like for Love Is a Drug, in the verse part, it's like that kind of tight cross stick, like the, and so that'll actually flip the stick upside down and get it on top of the snare and do like a crazy thing. But usually I'm just holding normal. They're just like 5A regular Vic Firth classic rock and roll sticks.
So the show I go to get to see you, I'm going to see you in like the Tommy Lee kit where you're floating around in circles and spinning around. I mean, that's crazy. All right, Mr. JT, you got the Epiphone black guitar that Frank gave you with the Alex Lifeston knobs, right?
Yeah, so it was a guitar gift to me by Frank, one of his million guitars that he has. He's actually going to get rid of it now. One night I tracked a guitar solo with it, and he was like, that actually sounds really good. And he took a couple pictures of me holding it. He's like, it looks good on you, man. And he was like, borrow this. And I started using it in the thick neck, and it's got P90s in it. It just sounded really good for the trio, and it really kind of complemented that sound being a one guitar band.
Yeah.
And I have guitars that are worth $1,000, $2,000 more than that, but I always end up going back to the Epiphone, and maybe I'll find another guitar someday, but right now it really feels like the one that I'm vibing with the most. And it's a 1955 reissue. I believe it's like a 2018 or 2017. but I really love it, and it sounds really good through my Fender amp. So the P90s are like some of my favorite pickups.
Do you have a Flying V?
I was just gifted a Flying V right before I left for here in Nashville, but I did not have room for it. So when I fly back to California, I'm going to bring it back. But Flying Vs are fun. They're hard to play when you're sitting down. They're like very
Yeah.
but they look cool.
Yeah, they definitely look very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I think I mentioned before Triumph. I think my first time I saw Triumph with Rick Emmett, I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
And like 1982, he's got this Flying V thing, and I'm like, wow, look at this thing. This is pretty cool. I know you had the double neck in Love Is the Drug, or one of the videos I saw you had the double neck, a white double neck.
Yeah, that was in Taken by Moonlight, and
Okay.
that was a guitar. It looks exactly like the one that Frank has. When I was growing up, the double necks, like my influence was obviously Frank and Alex Lifeson, Jimmy Page. Watching those guys play those double necks are really cool. And I ended up finding a really good deal on an Epiphone one in Reno at Bizarre Guitar from Greg Golden, and he gave me a really good deal on it. And it was my first. It was like my first double neck guitar, and first song I wrote on it was Taken by Moonlight. So,
Zach, did you ever think you'd be an actor in videos these days?
It's fun, man. It's definitely weird, like when you're in front of a camera for like the first time and you don't really know what to do with yourself, with your body. But it's fun after a while settling in and trying to just, stay relaxed, obviously, and just express yourself, That's the whole point of it, just to have fun with it. So I think it's been really fun, I'm excited to do more videos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you have the car, like the one behind me, and you got the girl like Emily, I mean, come on. I don't know about the baseball bat, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, that was a really fun video to shoot. I watched the movie The Shining right before writing the script for it. And it was like a 2-page script. I wrote it in like 1 or 2 days. And I was really stuck on, like, we had a couple different ideas. And in the song, the lyrics is like, baby's got a gun. But I didn't really want her to have a gun. I thought it would be better to have a bat. I think it was more of a fun video to shoot, because having a bat, she'd have to chase me around and stuff. And our good friend let us use his house, Chris Lavabera, and we just had a great time doing it. And our videographer, Brandon Golian, he really was like one of the best at bringing the shots to life, and so we couldn't have been more happy with how the video turned out.
Yeah, man.
Are they playing the song like on a speaker, or they actually have you playing? I mean, I know it's hard to fake drumming. I mean, you're probably hitting.
Yeah.
No, we had to like turn up the speakers so damn loud because I still couldn't hear it, because I'm like trying to play and make it look, like I'm actually hitting really hard. So I have to hit hard. So they have to like turn up the speaker so loud that it's like breaking the speaker. Tried, but it turned out really well, but it was definitely difficult.
Yeah, and we're working on a behind the scenes video right now of like little clips, fun behind the scenes little clips. So we're gonna put that out probably next week on our YouTube channel. But yeah, we're super stoked about it.
I love it. Well, Taken by Moonlight, you've taken everybody by surprise. I don't know about Moonlight, but you're kicking ass and taking names. And I know I played Taken by Moonlight, waited so long, Love Depth, and now Love Is a Drug. And I have fell in love with Sick and Twisted, a little different side of you guys, but I think it fits in perfect. And certainly Shaking Hands with the Devil, another one that's out there. But it's all good. JT, where can everybody find you guys? I know jtlux.com.
Yeah,
socials.
jtlux.com, or on Instagram, JTLOUX, TikTok, JTLux. It was never taken. It's always available. So yeah,
nobody wants to be JT. Nobody wants to be Pat Calamari either. But what can I tell you? It all works. And Zach, I know you're out there as well, right? I think I follow you on Instagram or one of them.
Zachary Stephen Cook, if you can figure
out. Whoa.
Cool, man.
Yeah, the family will love that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Send my best to Ethan. We got to squeeze him in next time. I love that bass sound, man. That's just like, boom, it's like resonated into my head to hear that boom, boom, boom. And watching him and bring the different sounds to life that certainly fits into your songs. And my door is always open. Send my best to Mr. Frank Hannon. I'm sure he'll be crashing on the couch soon, and somebody will have to take Patrick out for a walk and make sure he don't take a pee on your carpet.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for
Thanks for having
us on the
yeah.
show again. Appreciate it.
No, it's all good. Round 2, we should say, but we'll keep it as round 1. All right, guys. Well, it doesn't get any better than this. JT Lux, Zach Cook, the JT Lux band. I can't even talk anymore. Love is the drug. Go to the YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Tell everybody, buy the album, because when you see these guys opening for Tesla, ZZ Top, whoever, they can at least sign the merch. But for now, you can download and get a taste of it, but you really want to buy it. All good here. Keep rocking, fellas, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.